Hello and welcome to the new Herrington Light Railway in the north of England. Today we're going to look at the Locomotion Steam Railbus. There seems to be very little information about locomotion models. It appears to have been a very small company that operated during the 1990s and was still publishing its catalogue in 2009. Although only two distinct models are known to have been produced, a quarry Hunslet called Cackler and a railbus, the railbus was supplied in a range of different styles. The railbus was a freelance model based loosely on a Sentinel steam vehicle. There was also a battery-powered railbus, as well as the steam-powered one we will be looking at today. In addition to the powered cars, there were also some matching non-powered trailing cars. Some of the railbuses were single units and were fitted with cabs at both ends. As well as the passenger vehicles, the range included two distinct powered locomotives. One was a battery-powered loco loosely based on the Metropolitan Electric Railway Metrovic, and the other was a freelance engineered works vehicle with a cab housing the steam plant at one end and an open plant wagon section at the rear. All these railbus-based vehicles had cab fronts of brass sheet, whilst the chassis, central superstructure and roof were all of wood. The front was offered in two styles, a drop V chevron and a horizontal band with a raised centre. The rear of the railbus could be a closed veranda with a solid panel containing two open windows, or open with a wrought iron surround, as seen in our model. The body is mainly 4mm birch plywood. The steam power unit consists of a totally enclosed vertical gas-fired boiler, supplying steam to a pair of double-acting oscillating cylinders, which drive the single front axle. It is fitted with forward and reverse control, a pressure gauge, water level gauge, displacement lubricator, and a good old type boiler filling valve. The rail cars could be supplied for either 32mm or 45mm gauge, but were not interchangeable. Added extras which could be requested included an Enox type filling valve, insulated wheels, radio control either 27 or 40 MHz, and a radio controlled steam whistle. Although the railbuses are often seen in a red and cream or brown and cream livery, customers were able to choose their own colours. Our steam rail car was made sometime in the 1990s for Graham Wilkins in South Devon. In 2000 it was sold to Ray Reid in the Wirral, who hardly ever ran it and kept it in storage. On April 1st, 2018, I bought it and it was delivered to the new Herrington Light Railway. The Great Western livery was completed by Graham Wilkins and it was given the name Margaret. Apart from this, when it arrived in the northeast, the railbus and its trailing car were still very much as they were built. It still had the original 27 MHz radio controlled receiver and transmitter. These photos show the railbus as it was when it arrived. I steamed the railbus 2 or 3 times successfully before I decided to carry out some cosmetic improvements and to upgrade the radio control. Generally, the paintwork and lining are in extremely good condition. There were two areas I felt needed attention. The edges of the roof, particularly at the ends, were slightly chipped. The trailing car had curved rain gutter strips but the power car didn't. Although it appears that in their original state, the rail cars were not fitted with the strips, on closer inspection it seemed that the powered car had once had them fitted. As I thought the plain roofs were rather bland, I decided to fit new strips to the powered car. Both roofs were then sprayed in satin black and given a top coat of clear satin lacquer. The second improvement was to upgrade the radio control. I had noticed on the first few runs that the existing 27 MHz system was prone to glitching, making smooth running a bit of a challenge. The receiver and battery are both under the passenger seats in the steam car, so it was an easy job to replace them while the roof was off. A new iconic 2.4 GHz receiver was connected up. The servo that operates the regulator arm is fixed to the back of the cab underneath the gas tank. This servo seemed to be working fine, so I didn't change it. As everything had been working well earlier, I didn't anticipate the problems that appeared after the improvements were completed. I put the problems I encountered down to two things: pressure and movement. The first time I steamed it was probably the first time that it had been under pressure in possibly 15 years. And also the work I had done could well have disturbed fittings that had gradually deteriorated. First, the gas filler valve began to leak. This was replaced with a new one from Roundhouse Engineering. The gas control valve was loose. The seal of PTFE tape had to be replaced. I'm not sure if it would originally have been a rubber O-ring, but the tape worked. Then the gas jet was blocked. Getting to this involved removing, or at least loosening, the whole body, the boiler, gas tank, and most of the steam connection. When everything was back in place and steam was raised, the old fibre washers on the reversing block gave up and had to be replaced. Finally, when all was complete, she was tested, and what a difference. As you will see, she's a little beauty. Well, I've just filled her up through the inert valve just in front of the chimney, and I'm now removing the top of the lubricator. It's a Roundhouse Engineering type lubricator. It's a bit fiddly to get at, especially with the roof on. It has a drain plug underneath the cab for draining the condensate. Once the top is off, carefully removed, put enough oil in. This is engine oil, by the way. A little in there. Make sure the drain plug is tight. Up to the top. That's it. Now replace the threaded cap. This is even more fiddly. I did actually drop it into the bottom of the cab, but I edited that part out. Once that's tight, We've now got water and oil. Next thing is to be putting the gas in to check that the gas regulator valve is shut. The gas tank is quite a large tank. It certainly contains more gas than the boiler capacity, so you need to be checking the water level whenever you're running. There's a clear water gauge, so it's not too difficult to keep an eye on the water level. She's full of gas now. Just check that, open it up. We light it via the chimney. Occasionally it'll light at the top of the chimney, but generally if you close it and open it again and then blow, you can blow the flame down, and once it's lit you'll hear a kind of a burbling sound. She's ready. Here I've pushed her out onto the main line. As with most engines, you get a little condensate when you're first warming up, so it's a bit jerky. You'll see control is a lot better than it was with the old radio system, and off she goes. Short pause just to catch her breath a little, and then she's off again. Across the underarched bridge. Getting a bit warmed up now. After a full circuit of the railway completed, and she passes through Herrington Park Station. Here we'll stop just to have another close look at the front end of the railbus. Notice how quiet it is, even though she is fully steamed up. I'm just getting the hang of the regulator now, and tendency is to put too much steam in first of all. If you watch the regulator too far and she shoots off a little bit too quickly, and then just ease off to control the speed on the curve. Now this is a stop just to top up the water. I've just topped it up. She's waiting to build up steam again, and then she's off, and another circuit completed. So now I'll leave you to enjoy the film. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the Locomotion Steam Railbus. Sit back and enjoy, and thank you for watching.